line, and 500 riders have qualified, 1,500 showed up. Let's see how many finish.
Well, 1,500 came to qualify. Only 500 get to start the race. 10 rows of 50 riders. There are 27 checkpoints in total, and the first to the finish wins. The first 10 checkpoints, the public can help the riders out, but from checkpoint 11 onwards, they're on their own. They can help each other out, but that's all. And at the moment, it's Manny Lettenbichler who is leading the way, the young 21-year-old from Germany. He's the youngest ever rider to finish Hare Scramble. His father Andreas was the 2015 champion. Manny finished third here last year, and actually, if it hadn't been for his incident in the Green Hell, he may well have won. So he's out for victory this afternoon, and he's approaching checkpoint 11 now, Machine, as he swings it through the right and starts this tricky part of the course where Tina Dixon is waiting.
I'm at the base of Machine right now, and coming up behind me is the leader, Manny Lettenbichler, and he is looking solid at this point. Guys, keep in mind that in the past, he's come out of the gates very fast but lost energy near the end, but him and his father Andreas have been preparing meticulously for this event and so far making nice work of this section.
Yeah, it's a new, slower entry for this year as well, so it means they haven't got quite as much speed when they're getting up to the top, making it trickier to get out. But the next rider now is approaching, Tina.
Coming up is second place right now. It is Johnny Walker chasing down Manny Lettenbichler, who is currently in the lead. Now, I spoke to Johnny earlier. He said his body feels strong, but remember, he's coming off of that right wrist injury, but so far doesn't seem to be affecting him.
Yep, there is Johnny Walker. He's got Wade Young coming up behind him, but that wrist injury for Johnny Walker is surely going to come to bite him at some point.
Well, you would think so. He had mentioned that the first 2 hours, usually it's okay. It's later in the race that affects him, and you see he stole the bike, hit the electric start, and with that slower entry, these riders having to use a little more throttle, a little more clutch, and you can see spinning the rocks are also changing conditions constantly.
Here's a look back at the start of the race. You can see how just wet it was at the start after all that rain, and splashing through that water was not ideal. And there was a new, narrower start point here as well. So while the front guys made the whole shot, there was a fall in the middle from Ryan Sipes, and that caused chaos. And from this point, no one can go anywhere.
Yeah, you see this every time at Erzberg. That's why the top guys are so keen to get out quickly. Nice little shot here from the front there. Riders charging. They know how important it is to get open, clear track. You see how quickly it separates once they get out of the Iron Giant and head back into the woods. Teammates there, all going for the same piece of real estate.
Yep, 3 KTMs leading the way going into that first part. This was on board with Ryan Sipes. He was the guy who fell and then caused all the chaos behind in that early part. And I mean, when you've got these riders trying to get on top of you, it must be very difficult to pick up. And this was Graham Jarvis, who dropped back at the start. Doesn't always get quick starts, Graham Jarvis, and he was held up in that chaos at the first turn. Let's see how he's getting on now with Tina.
Guys, coming up right behind me, this is Graham Jarvis, and he is already making his way through the course, picking off the other riders. He did not have a good start, but we've seen this in the past where he doesn't have good starts, but he will make up ground. And keep in mind, Carl Stinner is still to come. That's where he shines.
44 years of age now, Graham Jarvis. He's up in 4th place. 5th there is Billy Bolt, and then behind them we've got Mario Roman, the Spaniard. But Jarvis, as we saw, not getting the greatest start, but he's able to climb back towards the front of the order. Meanwhile, here's Manny Lettenbichler, currently finishing checkpoint 12, the Sleeping Beauty Forest, and moving on to checkpoint 13, which is Devil's Kitchen, and looking pretty strong at the moment. Now, this is how he took the lead. Josep Garcia was the man who got the whole shot and was pulling away through checkpoint 4. This is on board with Manny Lettenbichler, following him through one of these higher speed hill climbs. And there we go, up the inside, and he's through into first place. And Josep Garcia now is dropping back a little, but that's how Manny Lettenbichler took the lead of the race. This is now Josep Garcia coming through. Oh, and just struggling a little bit. Got the whole shot, but now on the technical stuff, he's not having quite such a good day.
Yeah, well, you know, different riders have their strengths and weaknesses. Some of the riders coming from a trials background really excel in these sections. Garcia there, obviously struggling with the rocks, and they're big.
Race leader, meanwhile, is at checkpoint 14, Elevator. Lettenbichler leading, Walker second and Young in third, and this 25th running of the race is the toughest yet. It may be the same mountain, but both the size of the event and even the mountain itself are almost unrecognizable from when it all began back in 1995.
The first time they did it was exactly the same format. The prologue first up the hill, and then they put us into the rocks that we've never seen before. And I'd say it was as tough as it is now. It was about 25 kilometers. But if you look right on top of the mountain there, you'll see that spike is where we finished.
I came here for the first time 18 years ago. First Erzberg as a privateer. It's quite funny to listen, you know, the young talent. They would say, "Oh no, but no, that's completely different now." No, that's the same mountain. My bike had 2 wheels, some knobs, a handlebar, and it was about climbing and having some section of rocks. Carl was already mad at that time, and I mean, it was more or less the same race.
More Erzbergrodeo hair scramble when we return. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
This is Erzbergrodeo Hair Scramble, and you're watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
This is the current leader of the 2019 Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hair Scramble, Manny Lettenbichler. He's coming up to checkpoint 17 at Burping Stones. He's got Wade Young following him, at the moment about 10 seconds or so behind, but you can see there's some snow on the course here as we go on board with Manny Lettenbichler. This is going to be really, really tricky conditions, Grant.
Well, every time these riders have to try and figure out what tire compounds do you use, and I'm sure a lot of tire companies scratching their heads trying to figure out what works on tree roots, rocks, gravel, dirt, snow, mud. I mean, talk about all the elements. And going down these hills through that snow makes things very unpredictable. You see Manny not taking his time, but being very methodical about each and every line he selects.
Dropping down a little now, you see Wade Young is chasing him on the right-hand side there, the South African, about 10 seconds behind at the moment. This is how Johnny Walker lost second place, meanwhile. He was running well early on, but then just struggles to get up here.
Yeah, you can tell right there. I mean, basically vertical, got some wheel spin on that tree root there, and now the struggle begins. How do you get that bike up? Do you go backwards? Oh, another faller.
That was Wade Young coming up and past him, but going down as well.
So this is one of those slow but intense battles for podium positions at the moment.
Now here is the descent that I was talking about a moment ago, covered in snow. Manny Lettenbichler, race leader, is going to get there first. Wade Young has really reeled him in, and at this point it's going to be how easily can you descend, and Lettenbichler falls.
And you can see how slick it is, that bike. Is it going to stop?
It's going down by itself.
Wade obviously saw what happened and figured, hey, here's my opportunity to learn from the leader's mistakes. He caught right up and watched Littenberger make that mistake. Wade Young, different approach, but doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be pretty. You just need to get to the bottom, and throwing in the snow element really changes it for the riders.
Yeah, so Wade Young got off his bike. Lettenbichler tried to stay on it and ended up falling. So Wade Young, the South African, is now the man in the lead of the Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hair Scramble after that very, very tricky descent. Manny Lettenbichler it was, who was in the lead and fell, and this is on board with him.
Yeah, he just tries to go around, loses his balance, and obviously being on the side of a hill there, or mountain, he goes down, and then watch this, enjoy the ride. He's probably figuring, well, at least we're heading in the right direction. He's able to get his bike going quickly, but you'll see Wade Young, different approach, but gets it done, takes the lead.
And now he's taken the lead. He's actually starting to pull away quite a bit from Manny Lettenbichler. So for more on our race leader and what's up for grabs here on the mountain, here's Tina Dixon.
South African Wade Young. He has come very close to the podium here, but the last 2 years has finished in that 4th place position. Now, I talked to him earlier and he said, yeah, a podium would be nice, but I'm here to win. And if he does, he will take home a piece of the mountain in the form of a first place trophy.
Well, he's got to keep that first place, first of all, and he's had a little bit of trouble now in the next snow section, and that means Manny Lettenbichler is back right with him. And look, just coming into view at the top there is Graham Jarvis. He got past Johnny Walker in the troubles we saw Walker having earlier on. So now it's Wade Young leading. He's just about managed to get out of that snow pretty quickly, but another sketchy moment. There's going to be a lot of them throughout the rest of the race, I think.
Well, I do believe that the snow coming into the entrance to the base of this mountain has robbed all their momentum and speed, so it's allowed riders to catch up, and they're starting to back up.
This was how Graham Jarvis took that downhill section. He's decided to stay on the bike rather than get off it. Whoa, it's just going quicker and quicker.
I'm sure with, probably had front and rear brake on full lock. You could just see sliding. He was gaining speed down that hill, came down faster than he wanted. And look at that, he threw his goggles. That's going to be interesting later in this race, especially if he gets behind these riders on some hills with rocks and roost. It's going to be very challenging.
Well, that was a frightening moment there for Graham Jarvis. He's still in the race. Young is leading, but Lettenbichler is in hot pursuit, and Graham Jarvis is closing in on them as well as they approach Carl's Dinner, as much an iconic part of the event as the champion riders.
There's definitely some history between myself and this mountain. I showed up here in 2007 as a privateer and I ended up winning this race. It's been a hell of a ride since 2007 and we've won this race 5 times on the way.
It's important to forget what's gone before and just focus on that race.
Graham Jarvis has been disqualified 3 times in a row, twice as the man first past the finish line.
Unbelievable.
But in 2013, he finally accomplished his goal of winning the Erzbergrodeo hare scramble.
It was a huge relief just to get that first win after so many disqualifications. If I stop now and I've got 4 wins, I think I can be quite satisfied with what I've achieved. But it would be nice to win this race and get 5 wins to equal Taddy's record.
More Erzbergrodeo hare scramble when we return. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Styrian Mountains of Austria and the Red Bull Signature Series. This is the Erzbergrodeo hare scramble. And while we've got the professionals out in the lead at the front, 500 riders take to the course, and a lot of them are amateurs, and it's a real challenge for them. If it's a challenge for the top guys, for these guys, it's almost impossible.
Well, what's really interesting with this event is even for the amateurs, they get to ride the exact same course as the pros. Don't often see that at many of these extreme events like this, and you can tell just how gnarly and tough it was. And believe it or not, people come from all around the world to enjoy this punishment, and they come back year after year.
Meanwhile, our leaders are in the iconic section known as Carl's Dinner. This is Manny Lettenbichler in second place, and just look how big those rocks are. It's unbelievable.
Very challenging section. I remember years ago when Travis Pastrana and Jeremy McGrath came over and did it, and it started raining. They said that section was impossible, even with all their talent and skill. This section did it in for them.
Yep, one of the hardest sections of the race. You need an awful lot of stamina. There's a new entrance and exit this year as well, so a slightly different challenge to previous years. But Graham Jarvis is the man leading the way. Didn't get a great start, but he has hauled himself back into the lead. He's a 4-time winner of this event, won it last year as well. The record is held by Tadej Blazusiak, who's won it 5 times, and Jarvis is looking to match that as he fights his way over these rocks, and even the guys spotting for him are falling over on these rocks.
Absolutely, and these rocks will still move. They are pretty big and sturdy, but there are some that roll and really change the dynamics.
So this is how Graham Jarvis took the lead. First of all, Manny Lettenbichler didn't take a pit stop when Wade and Graham did going into Carl's Dinner. That moved him into first place, and this was him struggling on the rocks, and Graham Jarvis was able to come up and make a fairly slow speed overtake.
Jarvis is just so strong through these sections. I mean, it's very difficult. We call him the old man. He's been around a long time, but he's very crafty, very wise, very good at picking lines. You watch his line selection, generally a little bit different to the competitors.
This is Wade Young then, who's now in third place, was briefly in the lead a couple of moments ago, but now he's dropped back into third spot, and Mario Roman is trying to chase him down, his teammate there in the background. So that's the fight that is going on for third place at the moment, and Wade Young still looking to try and get his first podium finish here.
Wade Young does not want to get past and end up in that fourth position once again. That's probably the one spot he would not want to finish.
Billy Bolt, meanwhile, is back down into seventh place, and he's had a really stressful time coming into this race. He's injured his left leg, broke his left leg, and so he's going to be really struggling. So watch him, how he's putting and using that left leg. It can't be easy.
Well, just freshly off his injury, it sounds like he's not full strength or fitness, and it also sounds like there's still maybe some nerve damage in that foot, so make it even tougher for him.
This is Alfredo Gomez, 2 times winner of this event in 2015 and 2017, the man from Erzbergrodeo in Spain. And he is currently lying in 5th spot, and Johnny Walker has dropped back to 6th now, the other British rider nursing an injury, this time on his wrist. And he got a quick start, was running towards the front early on, but now is starting to slip back a little bit.
Wondering if that wrist injury is not coming into play at this point. Going through these rocks, they're also very jarring on the body. When we got that little close-up of his face, he looked like he's in a bit of pain.
Graham Jarvis, though, is out of the main rocky section of Carl's Dinner then. So once again, Graham Jarvis absolutely carving through those rocks and is making his way up through the final ascent. Still Manny Lettenbichler running in second place. And this is the battle for third spot. Very, very close, actually, and Tina Dixon's down there.
So we can see right now, that is Wade Young, and in fact, Mario Roman just passed him. So now Wade Young has been pushed back to 4th place. Now, the last 2 years, he took 4th. He does not want to finish in that spot again. There's still a couple big technical sections coming up, and time for him to make a pass and move up into those podium positions.
Okay, so those two making their way still through Carl's Dinner. Graham Jarvis is out of it. You can see just how slow. It's almost like a game of chess, isn't it, when you're going at these slow speeds? And this is Billy Bolt, and he has got the front of the bike stuck down between 2 rocks.
Oh yeah, that's going to get hard to get out of there. And this is also, once again, not what he wants, nursing a leg injury. That's that left foot putting it down and physically having to pull the bike out. That's why a lot of these riders choose to ride 2 strokes. They're lighter, a little more nimble, easier to manhandle. In other forms or extreme enduros, you'll see a lot more riders on the 4 strokes, but not here at Erzberg.
Yep, not about flat-out power here at Erzberg. It's all about this technical stuff that Manny Lettenbichler in second place is just about to come out of Carl's Dinner, about 6 minutes behind Graham Jarvis. Last year, his race fell apart at the next checkpoint, known as the Green Hell. It's become a race-deciding section of the course, most notably back in 2015.
In 2015, a bit of a strange situation. I think we were all feeling pretty tired and then realised there was nothing we could do by ourselves, so just had to team up and get up any way we could.
The top 4 all banding together to finish all as one.
It was a special moment, completely different for all of us. Normally, you race to win by your own.
It's a little bit disappointing because I was actually in the lead, but, you know, it still counts as a win, so it doesn't matter.
We all just finished together.
To crown 4 champions of the Iron Giant is awesome.
Has never happened in the history of this event.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series and the Iron Giant for the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble. It's man and machine versus the mountain here at the 25th edition of the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble. And this is the race leader, Graham Jarvis, coming up to the Green Hell section. So many fans have packed out this part of the course because they know
this is where it's won or lost.
This is usually the decider. We've seen it so many years. Once you get to this point, you can see Jarvis mentally preparing himself. It's wetter. It's looks like they've had some mudslides down there. Even the tunnel they went through, tough. He gets that power down, and look at him go. This is one of the best in the world, showing these fans. And even he makes a mistake, to the roar of the crowd.
It looked as though he was going to make it there, didn't he? Got a really good run up, but now was run into trouble. Meanwhile, Manny Lettenbichler in second place. He is caught up with Graham Jarvis. It's his turn now to have a run and see how far he can get up into Green Hell. This is where it all went wrong for him last year. On board we go. The course swings to the right. Oh, and then he finds Jarvis there. So he had nowhere to go.
Absolutely nowhere to go going up the hill there. He tried to go around, but Jarvis, maybe a little strategy there. Put the bike sideways, create a bit of a roadblock, but, well, you're watching the battle for the lead in one of the toughest sections of the toughest races. Late in the day, these guys are physically exhausted, and now they've got to figure out which is the best line to get to the top. You know, we talked about it with the weather, the rain. It's changed. It looks different from last year, and they're probably trying to figure out where they can find traction.
So last year, this was pretty much the top. They exited to the left as we look at it, but now they've got an even higher climb to try and get up. So that's why you can see them trying to come towards the camera, and that's where they've got to try and climb out of. 90 meters long, this part of the course, and look, Graham Jarvis really struggling to find any traction anywhere, because you're basically on tree roots here.
Oh yeah, traction is not at a premium. Also too, after going through all those rock gardens, the rear tires, the knobbies are almost non-existent. You see that wheel spin? That's just chewing up the tire, so even their grip has gone away throughout this race.
So Graham Jarvis in front then. He's just trying to get it up over the route.
I thought he was going to fall back down the hill there. That would not be fun. Man, this is just incredible. The world's best riders really getting put to the test.
So there, he's just digging in the rear tire to give himself a place to stop the bike rolling back down the hill before he then starts and goes for it again. And if you're Manny Lettenbichler here, you're actually in a reasonable position. You're just sitting, having a rest, watching how to get up the hill and then copying almost.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. And at this point, there may only be one optimal line. Jarvis is trying to get it. You can hear the fans trying to coach their riders, hearing him work the clutch, the throttle, and now digging a bit of a hole. So he's not going to roll backwards, but it's going to make it harder to get out.
So you're not allowed any physical help in terms of lifting the bike and pushing the bike, but they're scooping out a little bit of mud to try and make that climb easier for Graham Jarvis. But he's really struggling to get anything going at all there, isn't he? And look at Manny Lettenbichler on the right, just watching, just waiting and hoping that they're going to create a nice clean path for him.
Jarvis might be getting himself stuck in a hole, literally. That hole's getting a little bit bigger. Oh, and he gives it everything, but he can't quite get out of there. This is where the endurance, the rider's strength, the overall training, these riders do a lot of training off the motorcycle as well to keep up their strength and endurance, and this is a time they need it.
He's switched sides now, Graham Jarvis, so he's not the tallest of the riders out there, so now he's on the other side and up the hill. He can get maybe a bit more purchase. There he goes. He can push the bike a little better, and Lettenbichler now is following him on as well. And is he going to get out this time, Jarvis? Oh, just rolling back to the position he was in before.
Wasn't sure if he stalled it, if he's just trying to get another little run at this last section. He's on the bike, so that's usually a good sign. And if you look on the handlebars, on both sides, he actually had what seemed to be like energy bars strapped there. The crowd roars as he makes it to the top, but I saw the energy bar on the throttle side is gone, so he probably had a little snack out there.
Graham's dinner. As Manny Lettenbichler next up then. So he's seen what Jarvis has done, but as the more cheers, so I think Jarvis is almost getting out of there now at Green Hell, but seeing what the guy in front does doesn't mean you can easily replicate it. And there you can see Manny desperately trying to push that bike up, and someone else is arriving now. I think this is Mario Roman, and he hasn't quite managed it on his first run, so he's going back down to take another run at getting up to Green Hell. Those two did a great job to even get where they got to first time round.
Yeah, you can see if you don't get a good run at that hill at the very beginning, may as well just turn around and start over. You need to get right near the top before you get stuck. If you're getting stuck halfway up, it's going to be a nightmare and it'll take you forever.
Lettenbichler wrestling with it. Looks as though he's nearly got out. I can't believe how many fans are here. There were, maybe 10 or 15 people last year, but now here's Mario Roman, the Spaniard, in third place, and he's got up to where Jarvis and Lettenbichler just were. The crowd's going to give you a huge amount of encouragement, isn't it, if everyone's cheering for you?
Oh, absolutely. And at this point of the day, I think these riders need that encouragement. So easy for your body to want to shut down and potentially even give up, but these guys put way too much into it. They have teams behind them, and they want to do them proud.
And Jarvis is out then. Graham Jarvis out of Green Hell and off on his way. He's heading to Dynamite, the next checkpoint, and that is good news for him. And we'll see how quickly Manny Lettenbichler can get out of Green Hell and start to chase him.
As we get back to Green Hell, and this is the battle for third. Roman, Young, and Gomez all going for it, using the Jarvis line at the left there. So I'm sure, as we said, no physical help from the outside, but these people are coaching these guys where to go, and they're making a bit of a groove there. So I don't know if that's going to make it easier or more difficult with each and every rider that passes.
It's so slick up here after the rain we've had over the last couple of days, and that's what's causing the problem as well. And there goes Gomez, past Wade Young then, and Alfredo Gomez moves up into fourth place as Wade Young is still trying to get himself off that tree root there on the right-hand side. Almost got his leg up, pushing himself off the tree. Wow.
Yeah, he's got that bike high-centered. Oh, a mistake.
Gomez falls.
So now if you're Wade Young, do you want to take a shot at this hill knowing that there's a rider down in your line just a few feet ahead of you? There's a lot of strategy as well.
So these guys continue to struggle in Green Hell, but there are only 3 checkpoints left for our leaders. Can Graham Jarvis hold on for a 5th record-tying win, or will Manny Lettenbichler catch him to become the youngest ever winner? We find out when we return to the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series for the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble. Our leaders are coming into the penultimate challenge of our 22-mile course around the Erzberg Iron Mine, checkpoint 25, Dynamite. And it is Graham Jarvis who is in the lead at the moment. He's the man on the white bike there, the Husqvarna you can see on the right-hand side down at the bottom. That's Manny Lettenbichler in second place on the KTM. And here is Jarvis trying to get out of Dynamite. Looks like he's gearing himself up here.
Yeah, Dynamite definitely not the toughest section on this course, but late in the day, when you've been through everything else, this is very tough, and Jarvis is gonna get there. Nice. That was important. Each time he clicks off one of these, he knows he's just getting that much closer. And now we start going down, and this is
trickier than it looks, right?
Exactly. It's very easy to get carried away, carry a lot of speed, and then once you start getting the wheel lock up or you get off that line, very easy to go down and potentially damage yourself or the motorcycle and not be able to finish. Manny trying to get through this section as well. He saw Jarvis, so he's got a visual, knows just how far ahead he is. If you can get the section clean, maybe make up some ground, there's still a chance.
So here he comes then to this final hill climb section of it. Just focusing, getting a few words of advice from Andreas Lettenbichler, his father, and the winner in 2015. A little shake of the head from Manny, but spotters play such an important part. Don't know if I'd be great having my dad telling me what to do in that particular relationship, though. Oh, Lettenbichler, he's just gone off the side a little.
Well, if your dad's a former winner, I guess I'm going to take his advice over most other people, but very handy for him to have that, his dad, at his disposal.
And Manny makes it up and out of Dynamite then. So only a couple more checkpoints to go for these leaders. And he'll now start his sprint to try and catch up with Graham Jarvis. And he now starts the descent as well that we saw Jarvis doing a moment ago.
You can see just how steep that is going down the hill. Also pretty much a single track. And then Mario Roman, he looks like he is potentially stuck. He is breaking traction now, trying to not go off course. You can just see the physical exhaustion kicking in.
It's full of loose boulders, this 60-meter long section of dynamite. And that's where it's changing pretty much for each rider as they come through. Carl's Dinner, those big rocks aren't moving anywhere. You've just got to get over them. But here, the ground is changing underneath you as you're going up.
Yeah, at times it's almost like riding on marbles. So where your eyes and you want to go is not always where the bike ends up.
So here comes Roman up to the last part of it, trying to haul the bike up. Whoa. Almost wheeling his way up.
These riders have such great bike control. They do that on purpose, pop the front wheel up and basically do a 90-degree turn to pick their line. When it's very technical and tough like this, you end up having to zigzag your way up there. And look at that, there really is not a optimal line. It's trying to navigate. You basically want to avoid those big boulders that are right in front of him. You see him making his line to the left there where a little more dirt and gravel.
Here is Alfredo Gomez. Oh, he's got a good run up there though, hasn't he? That was nice and smooth.
Yeah, that was really well done there. This is that corner. We've seen a few riders getting hung up. Really hard to make a turn on the side of a mountain. The bike wants to, you want to fall down the hill. Oh, that was a bit of a scary moment there.
Gomez, a two-time winner of this event.
Yeah, now just trying to, I think he tried to shoot across there, but now looking to get back into that main line.
And this is Johnny Walker on board with him as he comes into Green Hell then. So he's a long way behind the leaders up that first run. And he's ground to a halt there even before the Manny Lessenbicklers and Graham Jarvises of this world, which were able to swing right pretty straightforwardly. Not straightforwardly, but made more progress there than Johnny Walker did.
Johnny got to be feeling that wrist injury at this point, pushing that bike, manhandling it. Maybe questioning why he decided to show up at this race, but we say it before, this is the one that everyone wants to win.
Graham Jarvis up Lazy Noon. Can he get it done in one? Yes, he can. That was the last major hill climb, really, for Graham Jarvis, and he swept up it as if it wasn't there. Absolutely superb stuff from the Englishman. And he is now heading towards the closing stages of the race. That was smooth. Oh,
super smooth, Jarvis. Known for that. This guy is just incredible what he can do, and he's been doing it for so many years. And what's nice for him, oh, look at that big rock coming chasing after him. That could have, imagine that getting whacked from a rock when you're close to home. That's what can happen in this event. The minute you think you got it done, things like that can happen. But nice for him to come out of the checkpoint not having Manny right behind him.
Mario Roman in third place then. He completes Dynamite. Can he hold on to that third spot? Alfredo Gomez is still trying to chase him down as he now makes his way towards Lazy Noon.
Just see that rear wheel full lock. These riders negotiating the hill really well. This is one of those sections that actually starts bedding in, so the riders coming later on will have a little more of advantage through there. So some sections help being first and some maybe hurt a little more.
Here comes Manny Letzenbichler. Oh, he hasn't got a huge amount of momentum coming up there. Can he get across the checkpoint in one go? Legs are out, legs are down, but he's done it. Or has he? Right up to the top, just about managing to make it through. When you compare that run to Graham Jarvis, it's a different world. He's in a class of his own almost. But Letzenbichler is still trying to chase him down, and Tina Dixon is waiting for the winner.
This is the closest we have ever seen the leaders hit these final checkpoints. And when you see the winner cross this finish line, you'll see the look of focus go to smile and excitement as they realize they have just conquered the Iron Giant.
And at the moment, it's Graham Jarvis leading the way. If he can just complete these closing stages without drama, he will take that record-equaling 5th victory in Erzberg that he is so desperate for. But Manny Letzenbichler is not going to let him have it easy. When we return, someone will take home a piece of the Iron Giant. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the stunning scenery of Austria and the Red Bull Signature Series.
We're about to crown a champion here at the 25th edition of the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble, but for anyone outside of the top 20, even getting to the end is not really a possibility. But for one man, the struggle is pretty much over. Graham Jarvis, who's won this event 4 times previously, is about to equal the record and take a 5th win. He's getting this final checkpoint check now into this stadium section where all the crowd have gathered. A few little obstacles to show off, but nothing compared to what he has just endured on the mountain. And it is Graham Jarvis who wins the 2019 Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble. And he is pumped with that.
Yeah, that is incredible. 5-time winner here at the toughest race in the world. Phenomenal job. This guy's like fine wine, just gets better with age. But he also knows the window will be closing. These youngsters are getting quicker and quicker each year, and they're nipping at his heels. But what a great ride from this guy.
A handshake with Carl Kotok and his mechanic Damo there, as Graham Jarvis enjoys his celebrations. Manny Lettenbichler's going to take his best ever result on the mountain, finished 3rd a year ago, and he's had a very strong race, it has to be said. He's going to be one of the favourites for next year now.
Oh, without a doubt, he's been strong back-to-back years. A little closer this year than last year, but I'm sure he's just thinking, man, that Jarvis guy is just so good. But he's young, he's getting better, he's got good advice from his father, he's got a good team behind him. You can see he's happy. But he won't be satisfied until he gets that win.
Less than half of Graham's age, 21 years old, compared to Jarvis's 44. He comes through his final checkpoint now, and he is going to get a lot of applause on the KTM. Home hero, I suppose, maybe not Austrian, but German.
Same language.
Exactly.
So,
same language on a KTM. He's going to be a popular guy to come across the line and take 2nd place. Manny Lettenbichler. A strong performance, pushed Graham Jarvis most of the way, to be fair. And that will be a very, very pleasing result for him. Here's Lazy Noon then. And we have got Alfredo Gomez, who's in 4th place at the moment, just coming up to complete it. He's won this event twice before, but I don't think he's going to be on the podium today, because Mario Roman, the other Spaniard, looks as though he's going to have a 3rd place finish, and he takes it nice and high on these final obstacles. He is the man who completes the podium at the 2019 Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble. Those are the first 3: Jarvis, Lettenbichler and Roman. The crowd on their feet applauding, a huge crowd that have turned up to watch this, and Mario Roman is very happy with that.
and it's also pretty warm after all that rain and the weather they've had. This is the hottest it's been, so the riders feeling it. The fans came out in full force.
Here, meanwhile, is Tadej Blazusiak, and he's just completing dynamite. We haven't really seen much of him. He's gone from 23rd up to 6th place, a man with an incredible history around here with his 5 titles, retired a couple of years ago as well, but now that record of winning the Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble 5 times has been matched by Graham Jarvis, who's at the finish line with Tina.
And Graham, the look on your face when you crossed this finish line was absolutely priceless. 5-time winner now. How much more does this one mean?
Well, you know, to equal Tadej's record, that was so important to, you know, after all the